Alright, Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions, here it is. This is your main menu, this is what you'll see when you first boot up the game. You have Adventure Mode, you have Classic Mode, there's some bonus levels, things like that. Here's the Classic Mode, this is actually what I'm most excited about. It has, like, the 5 different modes you remember from the last game. Evolved, Pacifism, Waves. I am going to try out the Evolved real quick. This is what the first game was like. This is exactly the first game. But it brings back the multiplier system from the second game, where after you kill an enemy, you can go pick up these geomes, and that boosts up your multiplier so you can get a huge score. As you can see, it looks like you remember. It looks very similar to the previous games. There's some more going on with the visuals, some more effects, more little things exploding. But the last game looked great, and it wasn't exactly taxing like the Xbox 360 or whatever. I'm playing this on the PlayStation 4. It runs really well. It looks beautiful, and it works. The one thing I will say, though, is that the DualShock 4 maybe isn't the best controller for this game. My issue is that I think the sticks are maybe too long. Here's what it is. So in this version of the game, in Evolved and in a lot of the different modes, it's a dual stick shooter. You're flying around and you're shooting at the same time. Once there starts to get like an enormous amount of enemies on the screen, you need to do the trick where, as you're flying forward, you're shooting out ahead of yourself, and you need to wiggle the right stick to kind of create a wide angle shot, so that you have plenty of room to kind of get through the crowd. With the DualShock 4 stick, it's actually super difficult to do that wiggle. There's something about the way the stick grabs the plastic of the controller. There's some friction there that makes it really uncomfortable to move back and forth. And also making quick maneuvers, quick changes of direction. Since the sticks are so long, it actually takes longer than you remember. And I've been having issues with that. That's probably just going to be me getting used to it. If you've never played this before, or if you didn't play it religiously like I did on Xbox 360, you're not going to have any issues with these things. That's just me. Although I have to say that I'm excited to play the game on Xbox One tomorrow. I want to see what the sticks feel like there. If it's just as bad there, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just getting older. It's been a couple years since the last Geometry Wars, so maybe I'm starting to lose it in my old age. But I have been having issues getting the scores that I once used to get. I got a little bit better, but I did find myself sort of yelling at the controller. Again, I'm probably just getting old. Okay, let's jump ahead to the end of this match. You can see as soon as you're done, it pops you out. You see a leaderboard. You can keep going. There's a lot of leaderboards in this game. We'll get to that in a little bit. For now, let's go ahead and try out Adventure Mode. So this is like the main new thing. Instead of just giving you like one map that everyone's supposed to compete on, or a handful of maps that everyone's supposed to compete on, Adventure Mode gives you a series of things with different challenges, different things that you're supposed to accomplish. You can also upgrade your ship with different capabilities. So let's try out this first one. This is like the 4th or 5th level. This is a deadline match, so it gives you a certain amount of time, 2 minutes in this case, to get as high a score as possible. I think the thing is with this is it's going to be easier to get higher scores if you have like the better upgrades. Right now, I only have this thing where I have the little guy following my ship around shooting. And I also have a mine ability where I can lay out mines that will just sit there until an enemy passes over it, and then they'll explode. So I've been struggling to get like a super high score. I mean, it doesn't help that I die. But this is the general thing about Geometry Wars 3. You're going to have different levels, different things, different challenges, and then you're going to have the leaderboards after each one. So you're going to have that will to compete on every single level. I don't know if that's quite as exciting as having just like a small number of levels that everyone's competing on. But, it's always nice to have a bigger opportunity to beat your friends. So maybe you're better at one level. And there's a greater chance of that if there's 60 stages. All right, let's jump ahead again. I finished that stage. I only got 1 star because I suck. But not every stage is just fighting off these waves of enemies. There are things called boss stages. On these levels, you're going to have to kind of face off against a more powerful opponent. In this case, it's just kind of a giant spinning thing that has shields. So you can see it's that red thing right there that just like popped out. I can't shoot it while the shields are up, but I can when they come down, but that's when he starts spawning enemies. This mode, I mean, it's interesting. It's fine. It breaks up the sort of the action with something that's maybe a little bit more difficult. But it's also kind of not why I play Geometry Wars. I'm here for, the score chasing, trying to beat friends, and, this has a score, but I mean, a level with the boss just doesn't seem like the kind of thing that's going to be conducive to, like, long-term leaderboard chasing. As you can see, there's a timer on this. I think I have one bomb, or maybe my mines. But you also only have one life. If I were to die here, that would be it, and I'd have to start over, and that's kind of frustrating. But I think boss levels are supposed to be kind of frustrating. I don't know. I think the main issue is that, for me, Geometry Wars is always about, you versus your friends. And this is kind of taking it, making it you versus the game. And I don't know if the gameplay of Geometry Wars supports that. Alright, let's check out a few more things. So, these are the levels that, I actually don't know why they're red. I've played through 2 of them, and I only got 1 star. But, let's go ahead and let's look through these weapons. So right now I have like the second guy, the attack guy, but there's things that like help you collect genomes faster. There's, things that help defend you against the incoming enemies. And then there's a bunch of options for like different kinds of special abilities. So now you can kind of get an idea of like how in this game the developer's introducing different kinds of like stages and levels. So this is like Super Stardust HD. With the sphere, the globe that you're moving around, you can see how the bullets curve over the horizon. This is new to Geometry Wars. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe it was in the DS game. I never really played that too much. I played it some, but not enough to like see if it ever got crazy like this. This introduces some variety. And again, maybe you're better at this kind of stage than you are at the one that your friend likes. So it's nice to have the chance to come and do something that you may be better at. But it's not so extremely different that A, it doesn't feel like Geometry Wars, but B, it's also not like world crushing innovation. It's just sort of more of the same on a sphere. So I can't move ahead until I get 16 stars. That means I need to start redoing stages. So I'm going to go back and try to do better on this stage. When I first did this one, this is another deadline one with 2 minutes. When I first did this one, I didn't have the attack drone. I didn't have the mines. So now that I have a slightly more powerful ship, I should be able to get a higher score. That might be, again, that's interesting progression, but it's not really Geometry Wars. I think you sort of want to know everyone's on a level playing field. So this adventure mode, while it will have cool leaderboard chasing, it's not. If you don't know what your friend's using, if he's using like a certain combination that gives him like a huge advantage, and you're just not aware of it, that sort of ruins the competition for me a little bit. Okay, to wrap up my thoughts, I like this so far, but I'm most excited about the classic modes, honestly. Geometry Wars 2 and Geometry Wars Evolved, or whatever it was called. Two of my favorite games. I really like this style of leaderboard chasing, trying to get a high score, bickering with your friends, getting on social media, getting on Twitter and being like, hey, I beat your score, what are you going to do about it? And this game has all of those hooks. You're going to see on the top right, I don't think it's showing it now, but you're going to see on the top right, who's right above you on the leaderboard. So you're always going to have that motivation. You're like, and it's always going to show your friends. You're like, oh, I can beat him, and I can move up, and then call him out on Twitter. But the new stuff, the adventure mode, I think it's a cool distraction. It's a cool new game, but it's not much more than that. But it doesn't hurt anything because the classic mode is there. And maybe, there is the opportunity there for some competition and some score chasing. It's not my favorite style because of like the customization of your ship, but I can live with that. It doesn't ruin anything because those classic modes are still kind of pristine and untouched. I think that kind of sums up how I feel about Geometry Wars. This is not a review. This is just some quick thoughts. I've been playing it since late last night. I was supposed to be working. I ended up not, and started playing pacifism mode a bit too much, and I probably put 2 hours into that without even realizing it. So it's that game, and it's back, and it's a great reason to kind of go back and have some more fun with it.